The Epoch Times CEO, Janice Trey, the Vice Chairman of the Republican National Hispanic Assembly, Luis Figueroa, also Executive Director of Latinos for America First, Bianca Gracia, and Sales Coach, Consultant, and Speaker, Chris Cameron. The panel will be moderated by Vianca Rodriguez.
Buenas tardes a todos, and welcome to this powerful conversation that we're going to be having here at CPAC Latino. We're going to be talking about free speech and censorship. My name is Bianca Rodriguez. I am currently a political appointee with the Trump administration, and I am the former Deputy Director of Hispanic Communications for the Trump 2024 campaign. And I would say that I have a pretty keen sense of how censorship takes place behind the scenes, unfortunately, especially when it comes to newsrooms and editorial meetings, because I used to be as well a political analyst for a Spanish language media that I'm not going to mention. So, you know, it's kind of shameful to see how you would think that a lot of us that come from different countries, especially Latino Americans, fleeing from those type of communist tactics and regimes, that it still takes place here in America, right in our editorial meetings and in our newsrooms behind the scenes, hidden as propaganda. And well, I don't want to take up any more time, so I'm going to present really quickly our panelists. Of course, there's Chris Cameron. He's currently a sales manager, expert, consultant. And then, of course, there's Bianca Gracia, who leads Latinos for America First. She was also one of the pioneers behind Latinos for Trump in the early stages of the first campaign in 2015, 2016. That's right. Yeah. And so we have Luis Figueroa as well, who is currently the vice chairman of the Republican National Hispanic Assembly. He's got a lot of expertise in the oil and gas and energy sector. And we have Janice Trey, who is the CEO of Epoch Times and who has an amazing story that hopefully she's going to talk about throughout this panel, how she was able to flee communist China and survive a slave labor camp in China. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you to the panelists. And all right, let's see how we're going to kick this off. So I guess one of my first questions would be, you know, and you probably all know about this, right? There was a socialist who won the Democratic primary in New York City not too long ago. And my question, and this is open to any of you guys if you want to break the ice here, how do you feel about the fact that that's happening right now? How do you see socialism overtaking our country, and how does that threaten our freedom of speech when it comes to topics like gender, family rights, faith, and all those sorts of values?
Well, I can speak to that. I think it's we're in dangerous times right now, and it pretty much lets you know what the direction of that party is right now and what they're advocating for, promoting. They don't even hide it anymore. They were hiding it before, but now it's wide in the open. And so this pretty much tells you what their agenda is, how they feel about our family, about God, and about what they want to do to this country. They want to destroy it. So I think everybody here who are business owners or you're in finances, you know that nothing is free. You have to work hard for it. Nothing is free. And so there's nothing wrong with charity work, right? But this is not charity work. This is the government. So we're living in some very dangerous times, and we cannot allow New York and California to continue to set a precedent in the way that government is conducted here in the United States.
I completely agree. And so to piggyback off of that a little bit, because I think, Chris, this would be a great subject for you to, elaborate a little bit more on. Why do you think we should defend capitalism and when it comes to the area of businesses?
Yeah, as a business coach and consultant, one of the things that is absolutely paramount to protect is, one, freedom of speech, but also capitalism. I'll give you just a quick example. I have literally been trying to get here for about 25 hours. We got diverted and went to Birmingham, Alabama. I came from Salt Lake City. And then we finally made it to Atlanta. This is about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I sat there, and you'll hear from Ryan Lee tomorrow, who is with Wealth Outside of Wall Street. He and I were standing on the curb trying to figure out how to solve a problem of where we're going to sleep, how are we going to get to where we need to be. And I'm telling you, we saw capitalism at work completely. We have Uber. We have different ways that we can call different hotels. We can go and get what we need, versus I want you to picture other countries in the world where that doesn't happen. If you get diverted, you get something like that. It's not possible. Capitalism solves problems in so many different ways. And that's just one example that I had last night, but it's very, very important. I love that Grant Cardone was up here. He is a champion of freedom of speech.
Yeah, 100%.
And especially in sales. In sales, so many people are afraid to open their mouth and actually share what they have to sell. And we need to protect that fiercely, because dollars follow value 100%.
And I think it's great also seeing leaders like you just mentioned, Grant Cardone, who just, there's no filter, right? And I think that people nowadays, it's not just our generation, but I think just Americans in general, we really value people being genuine. And I think that that's what ultimately, right? I think you agree, it attracts more business.
100%.
So I think that's great. I agree 100%.